In 1922, in a hotel by the sea, a grieving man sat as a woman took up a pencil and began to write. A letter, she said, from his dead mother. The man was Harry Houdini, the greatest escape artist alive. The woman was the wife of his closest friend. And what that pencil wrote would destroy their friendship forever. On one side stood Harry Houdini, who could escape any handcuff, any chain, any locked cell on earth. On the other, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who invented the world's most logical detective, Sherlock Holmes. They became the unlikeliest of friends. Then the dead came between them. To understand the feud, you must understand the grief. The First World War had killed millions of sons, and Doyle lost his own boy, Kingsley. Drowning in loss, he turned to spiritualism, the belief that the dead could speak to us through mediums. And he was far from alone. A grieving world was desperate to hear from its dead. Doyle's belief knew no limit. When two English schoolgirls produced photographs of tiny winged fairies dancing in their garden, the creator of Sherlock Holmes declared them absolutely real and published them to the world. The master of pure logic had fallen for paper cutouts held up on hat pins. Houdini was his opposite in every way. He hung upside down in a straitjacket above roaring crowds. He was locked in chains and thrown into icy rivers. He was sealed inside a water torture cell and escaped them all. Because Houdini knew the one thing the believers refused to, exactly how the trick was done. But here is the twist. Houdini was no cynic. For years in secret, he had begged medium after medium to bring back his own beloved mother. He wanted to believe more than anyone alive. His war on the spirits was not born of hatred. It was born of a broken heart that had been lied to. So when the skeptic finally met the believer in 1920, they did not fight. They became close friends. Doyle was certain he could prove to Houdini that the spirit world was real. And Houdini hoped quietly that his famous new friend just might be right. But Doyle had a bizarre idea about his new friend. He decided Houdini's escapes were not tricks at all. He believed Houdini had genuine supernatural powers, that he dissolved his own body to slip through locks and solid walls. Houdini told him again and again it was only skill. Doyle simply would not listen. In the summer of 1922, the two families met at a seaside hotel in Atlantic City. There Doyle offered Houdini a gift he could not refuse, a private séance in which his own wife, Lady Doyle, would try to reach Houdini's dead mother from beyond the grave. In the darkened room, Lady Doyle's hand began to tremble, then raced across page after page. 15 sheets of a loving message, she said, from Houdini's dead mother. Doyle wept with joy beside him, but Houdini sat frozen, because he was reading those pages very, very carefully. And the message was all wrong. It was written in flawless English, and yet Houdini's mother, a rabbi's wife, had barely spoken a word of it. It opened with a Christian cross, drawn for a Jewish woman who never would have made one. And that very day was her birthday. Her loving spirit never once mentioned it. Houdini said nothing that day, but he could not unsee it. He came to believe that his best friend's wife had faked a message from his dead mother. To him, the cruelest lie of all. Months later, he said exactly that in print. And the friendship shattered into pieces. Now Houdini declared open war on the mediums. He put on disguises and false whiskers, slipped into séances as an old grieving believer, and waited in the dark. Then he leapt up, threw on the lights, and exposed the trick. The hidden hands, the glowing gauze, the trumpets swung on wires above their heads. He poured it all into a furious book. A magician among the spirits, naming the frauds, and revealing how every miracle had been faked. But to a grieving public that needed the dead to feel near, Houdini had become something monstrous, the man stealing their last comfort away. Then came the ultimate test. The magazine Scientific American offered a small fortune to any medium who could prove real powers before a panel of experts. And Houdini sat on that panel. one medium came within a single breath of winning. A charming Boston socialite known to the world only as Marjorie. Marjorie dazzled the committee, ringing bells and floating tables in total darkness. The other experts were ready to hand her the money. But Houdini was certain it was fraud. So he built a wooden cabinet that locked her body in place, leaving only her head and hands free, and instantly the miracles stopped. When Houdini exposed her, Doyle erupted. He defended Marjorie in public, printed leaflets branding Houdini a liar and a bully, and swore his old friend was persecuting the honest truth. Two of the most famous men on earth were now open enemies. Their warm letters turned cold, then cruel. Doyle wrote that Houdini would soon get his just desserts. Houdini wrote back that Doyle had been fooled by nearly everyone he ever trusted. Neither man would bend a single inch. And then in October 1926, everything changed. In his dressing room, a student asked whether Houdini could really take any punch to the stomach. Before he could brace himself, the blows landed hard. Days later, on Halloween, the Night of the Dead, the greatest escape artist who ever lived died of a burst appendix. This was the one trap he could not escape. But Houdini had left behind one final trick. He and his wife, Bess, had agreed on a secret code. 10 words only the two of them knew, beginning with Rosabelle, believe. If any part of a person truly survived death, Houdini swore he would send those exact words back. If the mediums were real, then he of all people would find a way through. For 10 long years, Bess kept a single candle burning and held a séance every Halloween, waiting for the words. In 1936, on a Hollywood rooftop, she tried for the very last time. The code never came. She blew out the candle and said quietly, "Houdini did not come through. My last hope is gone." So who really won the feud? Houdini never caught a single true ghost. But he never once found an honest medium either. Doyle believed to his final breath and was fooled again and again. One man could escape anything on earth except doubt. The other could believe anything at all except the truth. Two friends torn apart by the oldest question there is, what waits for us after we die? To this day, the escape artist has stayed silent. If you'd watch 2 more legends go to war, subscribe, and we'll open the next file.